Welcome to the After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. I want to ask each of you, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show, but you didn't? Becky Gray, I'll start with you.
Tom, when we were talking about the DHHS proposal, there's a lot of stuff in there, the managed care, the integrated care between behavior and physical health. I think there's a lot of good proposals, but one that I thought was particularly good is to expand telemedicine, really look at telemedicine proposals. You know, so we look at access to care, particularly in rural areas. You know, we've got to think forward. Technology, I think, is a real key there, and telemedicine is the answer to that. So I was very happy to see in that proposal that telemedicine is becoming more and more of the conversation of healthcare in North Carolina.
Interesting. Pengo Connor, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, going again to the Medicaid issue, when you were asking who's going to manage the managers of the managed care, that it will be a paradigm shift for North Carolina's Medicaid program because we have been probably the longest standing fee-for-service program in the country. But there's a new Medicaid manager coming in, the head of that whole division. His name is Mr. Ludlam. He's coming from Missouri, where they have a long history with Medicaid managed care. So they will have to change the way they think about things to hold these plans accountable. But it's in the works to bring the expertise to the table.
Gene Arnold, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, Tom, we didn't get time to get to the subject, but on the education issue, and I think there was a reporter of some sorts who was saying that we were the state school of choice. I think the General Assembly is playing a dangerous game of abandoning the public schools. You've got 1.3 million kids in North Carolina, all of which are going to be required to be educated. I talked to a young teacher who quit after her 4th year. She said it was impossible to please the local administration, the state administration, and the parents with what they are given to work with and how they are being forced on a biweekly basis to test and demand results that are unachievable.
Chris Fitzsimon, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show?
Well, we talked about one of the bills in the what I think is still the troubling special sessions that we're having with not a lot of notice was about regulatory reform and regulations. There's a lot of discussion about making sure that no rule or regulation in North Carolina can be stricter than a federal standard. Well, we know the Trump administration is pulling back on the EPA, so that's troubling on its own. But think about the Gen X chemical that's in southeastern North Carolina. It's causing a lot of controversy. The governor's trying to get more funding for the department to address it. The HHS wants more funding to address it. But that's not regulated by the federal government because it's something called an emerging contaminant, which means we don't know about it yet. So if we don't allow state regulators to do something that the federal government hasn't done, what are we supposed to do while we have a public health danger and may not have the mechanisms to deal with it? So I think we need to be really careful when we handcuff the people who we are trusting to protect the public health. And I think sometimes this is what we all think regulatory reform sounds so great. Yeah, let's take all the regulations away. Well, here's an example where we don't have a regulation. We really need one, and we can't handcuff ourselves because this is a dangerous new chemical.
You know, it reminds me of what Yul Brynner said in The King and I. It's a puzzlement. Thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.